Hello learners, I hope you're doing well and you are finding the sessions interesting and useful. I'm Ajit K. Mishra. I'm here again with a new session, and in this session I'm going to talk about various other aspects of social relationships and social well-being. Let's start with the value of social relationships. By now, we all know that social relationships are very important because they determine our social well-being, and we need to experience subjective and social well-being if we have to, have a healthy life. So, we also know that we are born with a drive to seek, form, maintain and protect strong social relationships. And in order to fulfill this particular need, we seek relationships with those at work, family, and in our communities and religious organizations, on sports teams, in online communities and other social contexts. It's very important that we understand this particular need, this particular drive to socialize, and this particular need to have social bonding. So we need to understand the value of social relationships in this manner. So let's take a look at these things. Before we can think of the value of social relationships, let's first take a look at the other side, the bleak, the grim situation. People without quality social relationships are faced with several challenges. They struggle with various issues, and they find it very difficult to take care of their social well-being or to determine it. Instead, these people generally experience, when I say these people, I mean those people who do not have quality social relationships. They experience a great amount of depression and anxiety. Depression and anxiety because they are socially isolated. Either they have isolated themselves or they have never created conditions for any social bonding to happen. So social isolation or self-inflicted loneliness, social loneliness, is a very harmful thing because it will ultimately lead to depression and anxiety. The other issue is that people who do not have healthy or quality social relationships, they have elevated levels of stress and inflammation. Several studies have established this. So they are not healthy, they are not physiologically comfortable or fine because they are always stressed. The reason is they don't have a mental support system or an emotional support system. They don't know how to open up, how to discuss their issues with anybody because they don't have any support system. And the absence of an emotional support system actually aggravates their stressful conditions, which ultimately leads to several inflammatory issues or ailments. The other aspect of it is that the cognitive and functional decline is determined by the absence of a quality social relationship. So it has been found through several studies that the absence of a healthy social bonding has led to even dementia. It has led to several cognitive and functional issues, including dementia. So people who do not have a good social support system are always at the risk of developing dementia at a later stage. So that's the reason why it is generally advised that the elderly people go out with people of their age and they spend time with them, and they develop an emotional support system. There is another issue which is also associated with the absence of a quality social relationship, and that is delayed recovery from injury, surgery, and illness. Just imagine a condition where one of your friends has met with an accident and the friend has been hospitalized with a broken leg. No one goes to visit that friend or that person in the hospital. No friend. So imagine the level of stress and anxiety that person will get or will have when no friend. That person may have several friends, and if no friend goes to meet the person in the hospital, goes to spend time with the person in the hospital, the recovery from injury, from that accident or from that illness will be considerably delayed. On the other hand, imagine the same friend who has met with an accident and got a broken leg and is hospitalized and is visited by several friends who go and they give their autographs, write something on the plaster, which is happening quite frequently these days. What a great impact it will have on the recovery phase of that person. It will double the recovery rate. So that's the impact of quality social relationship. So therefore, it's very important that we understand the negative impact of the absence of a healthy social relationship. And the other aspect that's very closely associated with the earlier one is this. Why is it so? It's a big concern today that most people do not have a healthy social relationship. We are devoid of a quality social life or a quality social bonding. Why is it so? What are the reasons because of which we are suddenly stripped of this particular privilege, which is so important? We all know it is important, yet we are devoid of it. What are the reasons? So let's take a look at the reasons behind this particular situation. So there is a rise in social disconnection and loneliness. There's no doubt about that. All kinds of connections, or a large amount of the connections, are virtual connections now. They are vicarious connections. They're not the real ones. They are virtual connections, as a result of which the social bonding, the social support system has weakened. So what we get to see in front of us is a social disconnect and loneliness, because the virtual world will not give us the benefits of being in the company or being in the troop. Instead, it will gradually result in an enhanced loneliness or aggravated loneliness, and that's a fact. When we look at the number of adults who are living alone, we'll be surprised. It has nearly doubled over the past 50 years or so. Adults are forced, and look at the elderly people. Most elderly people today are doomed, are forced to live alone, are forced to take care of themselves, are forced to live in a very limited social support system. So that's a harsh reality. There is a considerable a reduction in marriage rates. And there are smaller household sizes. That means the extinction of the joint family system, which used to give a huge emotional support to all its members in the past, and increased rates of childlessness. So, how will the bonding happen? How will it take place in the absence of all these things? And there is a substantial decrease in community involvement. Whatever little community involvement is there is generally through the virtual platform, the virtual channels, rather than the actual ones. So there is a steady decrease in community involvement. Finally, there is a steady decrease in the need for face-to-face interactions due to technology and social media, because we get connected with our friends so easily, and that has created a self-harming habit in us. We get connected with the person who is sitting the next door through the social media, rather than going to the next room and meeting the person, shaking hands or embracing. We don't do that. Or hugging, we don't do that. So when all these things will not happen, the social connection, the social bonding will not happen. In the absence of this, the social support system, which provides a wonderful emotional support to all of us, will not happen. That means the social relationship system has certain rewards. Of course, it has certain rewards. So you can think of the rewards that the social relationship system generally gives you. Emotional reward. Because we know our relationships give us emotional support and encouragement in difficult times. Imagine you have failed and you're feeling very, very bad about it. You're in a depressed state. When you go home with a scorecard that has declared that you have failed, and the moment your family says, no problems at all, this is not the end of life, so work hard, the next time you'll pass. Imagine the amount of self-confidence that you'll derive from such a response. So that is the power of having a relationship. So this relationship will give us emotional support and encouragement in difficult times. We have several difficult times throughout our life. And imagine on all such difficult occasions, whenever there is an emotional support, how easy it will become for us to overcome that particular challenging or that particular crisis. That's the power of relationship. Because our relationships give us happiness. That's the reason. And then when we interact with our friends, it can be fun, it can be relaxing, it can be enjoyable, because our friends take care of us, and we all take care of each other in a friend circle. In fact, some of our most memorable and happiest times are spent in the company of those close friends, and those memories serve as our medicine in times of crisis, in difficult times. With that, we come to the end of this session. I'm sure you have taken note of all these important things that I talked about during this session, and I'm also sure that you're going to explore each one of these important elements yet further, and you'll enhance your understanding of social well-being while also enhancing your social well-being. When I meet you with a new session the next time, I'll be talking about another very important type of well-being, and that is professional well-being. So until then, it is bye-bye.